Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to this SUSECon 23 digital session that is called Contributing to Uyuni as a non-developer. And it is about how anyone can help Uyuni keep on being the greatest system management tool with contributions that can make it into the enterprise release SUSE Manager. So let's meet the presenters. So my name is Raul Osuna. I am a technical support engineer and I am also a support product lead for this product, SUSE Manager, the enterprise version of this product. And I have with me Miguel, Miguel Perez.
It's a long title. Yes, my name is Miguel Perez. I'm taking care of the product management and engineering for SUSE Manager. So, yeah, I'm part of the team that helps build SUSE Manager. SUSE Manager is the downstream for Uyuni. Uyuni is the project that we are working on in the community, and then we productize it into what we call SUSE Manager. So that's my relationship with Uyuni.
Yeah, and important that I forgot. If you see in the titles, I am the titles are very long, but take the word support. I am a supporter, and Miguel is actually a director of engineering. So you will see that we are not developers, that people that are coding the product right now. This is important for this session.
Mhm.
Okay. So Miguel, you tell us the agenda for
Yes,
the
let's go
meeting.
for the agenda. So first, we're going to go a very brief introduction on Uyuni and therefore SUSE Manager, and then you will take us through how to set things up in Git and GitHub, and we can go following you on every step. So this is a very step-by-step process. You can go the video, stop it, and try to do it yourselves too, because you're going to have fun if you do it that way. And then we will show some examples on contributions and other suggested contributions, just in case you think, hey, I think I could contribute here or there. I could change this. I think I could make it better by doing this. So if you want to contribute, we'll be happy to review your issues, pull requests, content, whatever you bring. So next, please. So what is Uyuni? Uyuni is a management tool for Linux, not for one Linux, but for, I mean, the motto is any Linux, anywhere, at any scale. So any Linux is like we try to reach as many distributions as possible. So we now support CentOS, we now support Rocky Linux, Alma Linux, OpenSUSE, of course, SUSE Linux Enterprise, of course, and Ubuntu. So there are many Linux distributions supported in Uyuni. So the idea is that you use Uyuni to manage your operating system, whatever it is. Then anywhere, it means that it doesn't matter if you're deploying on an edge device, like a tiny device that is for let's say a Raspberry Pi that is capturing information from the weather in a natural park, to a large server that is running in the data center, to the cloud, which is I mean, maybe you have 22,000 instances of Linux that you want to manage and keep them updated and patched. So this is what Uyuni is for. Okay, what is the origin of Uyuni? Uyuni started in 2008, so it's been around for quite a while. It's very robust. It's well tested. It's battle tested, like very battle tested, as you can imagine, from 2008. And the thing is that this started with a spacewalk project, and then at some point in time we forked it. We made a fork to put it together with another project called Salt, and now we have Salt and Spacewalk together is what Uyuni is. And the intention of this is to provide a better way to handle, manage, communicate, and even automate your systems from one single point, not just patch them. So Spacewalk was discontinued in 2020, and we keep, of course, maintaining Uyuni and updating it and patching it and keeping it secure and running. So we really recommend you to go to Uni project and start download it and give it a go. Next, please. Under the covers, what's underneath the Uni? So you can start hacking on it. So we have several components, but it's very straightforward. Okay, the heart of a Uni is an application running on Tomcat with OpenJDK. So we have a Java, we have Tomcat as the servlet, and then we have a Java application running on top of it. This application connects to a database, which is PostgreSQL database, very standard everything. So it's very straightforward to go and start working on it. And then as a front end, we're using Apache HTTPD server that acts as the reverse proxy to access the application running on Tomcat. And then, of course, we have SaltStack that has the server and the API that is running in the server. And then you can deploy what we call minions, and those minions are connected to the server. We also have in Uyuni what we call the proxy. The proxy uses a Squid, and you can deploy it to scale to help making SUSE Manager and Uyuni scale and manage devices. Just for the record, we have customers that are running several thousands devices. We have one that is on 90,000 devices. For that, we had to do some special architecture, but let's say that with just one instance, you can get to 10,000 devices if you provide enough CPU and memory. And of course, we have another project to monitor, which is based on Prometheus and Grafana. And you can get the code from GitHub. It's github.com/Uyuni project. You get in there and you have all the code, all the documentation, everything that we are putting together right there, and also instructions on how to obtain an image and deploy it on your laptop. I mean, I have one, my laptop, and you can use it and play with it and break it and then fix it again and then provide content there. This project also in GitHub provides access to issues, to pull requests, and to all the information that you need to be able to engage with us. And even the discussions are done there in GitHub on how to merge or what to merge. So you are ready to go there and start contributing. I think this is it as an introduction. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. It
No,
was very
well,
complete.
it's okay. Okay, then you can take it over.
So let's start with hands-on things, and so that you can see the receipt about how to contribute. So the first is setting things up. So set up Git and GitHub. And a lot of this information is extracted from one of the repositories of the Uyuni projects, that is the Uyuni docs, and it's about the documentation of Uyuni. And they display a lot of Git and GitHub, and I extracted pretty much of the information from there. So first of all, in case you don't already have a GitHub account, go to github.com and create yourself an account. Secondly, make sure that your commits are signed, and this is explained in the documentation. So for normally for your own projects, this is not a requirement, but for big projects like this, it is not uncommon that it is requested to sign the commits, the changes that you send, and this is explained in this documentation of GitHub.
Raul, may I say one tiny thing? I mean, just people thinking, oh, do I have to sign things? Do I have to use GPG? No, 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 no. This signing is as simple as in one comment that gets added to the message that you put in your commits, you put your name and your email, and that's it. So it's not a difficult thing to do. It's a very simple thing to do. Okay,
Yeah,
just because when I saw it the first time, I was like, oh my god, no, 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 no. It's very easy and straightforward.
yeah, we need to know who is contributing, so that in case we have to contact them, and we contact through GitHub. But um, yeah, and it is very well documented and it's easy to do. I had no clue about this. I did it a few months ago, and in a couple of minutes it was ready. So the third step would be to fork the original repo to which the contribution is desired. We will say some of the examples, but for example, one of the repositories that you could fork would be the Uyuni docs. So you go to the website of that repository in GitHub, and you will find a button that says fork, that the one that is in the slide. Okay, so you already have your fork. That means that you have a copy of the repository in your GitHub account, and then you create yourself a working a working directory for this, and you clone your fork. So not the repository from Uyuni project, but you will clone your fork with this command git clone with the URL that will contain your GitHub username, and it will contain the repository name ended in .git. Uh, in case that you like the command line a lot, like I do, you have a tool that is called GH, which is the GitHub command line interface, and you can do both steps 3 and 4 from the command line with GH. But the tool, it's for many people is not so much known, so I wanted to give also the usual way to proceed.
So Raul, here what we have done is say, okay, I want to work on Uyuni, and I'm creating a copy of the Uyuni repository, right? And then
Mhm.
we are bringing it down to our own disk in our own
Exactly.
folder. Okay, good.
So the next step is add the original repository as an upstream. As Miguel just explained, you have a copy of your repository in local disk, and the changes that you submit are going to be in your local disk. But you have to tell Git where to upload these changes to when you decide to upload a change. So that is done by adding add upstream remote. And here you have the commands. You go into the directory of the that you just cloned of your fork, and you run a git remote add upstream a command that will add the official, to call it, the Uyuni project URL for the repository.
So in this case, what we do is that we have our working copy from our own name in our own forked repository, our working copy, and then the original one. So we can compare them and then say, please can I accept the changes that I made? Something like that, right?
Exactly. So you will have your local disk from your fork
Mm-hmm.
version, and you will have a pointer to where in the internet in GitHub does that repository that belongs to you is. So also when you use that remote, it also means that if you lose your computer or your disk for whatever reason, your change will be in GitHub.
Oh, nice. Good.
Okay. And you can check that the configuration is fine with the command in number 6 with git remote minus v. You will see that you will have 4 entries in total. Um, some of them for origin, that is your local disk copy, and so on. Some of them upstream, which is the copy that is in GitHub of your fork. And last but not least, you want to fetch the branches that are upstream um, from the repository from the community, and you want to merge them into your fork. And this is the command that the, the documentation team recommends. And you change, first command is to do change to the master branch. Then you will fetch the branches that are in the community version of the repository, and you will merge. So you will make that your clone is exactly the same as the what the community is having. Now, normally you wouldn't have any difference, but imagine that you're running this command 1 day later, so there is going to be something different.
Uh-huh. So this way we ensure that every time we start working on it, we have the latest changes.
Exactly.
Okay, good, good.
So this was only the setup. So one that you have set up your account, you can start contributing. And let's put one example, which would be a contribution to the documentation. So let's think that you find a typo in the documentation, a very small typo. In this case, someone misspelled OpenSUSE lib, for example. Then what you have to do to fix this typo on the documentation, you prepare your local environment according to the previous step, because in the previous step I wasn't giving exact URLs because we didn't know which repository we were going to work with. This time is Uyuni docs. So the repository that you will want to fork is this one. You can get the URL from this website as well, and you have the button that if you remember from the previous slide to fork it. As said, even if you just fork the repository and you just clone it, something might have changed in that small amount of time, or maybe the amount of time that passed by was not so small. So again, do the last command that I did that I shared in the last slide. You will go to the directory, you will change to the branch called master, you will fetch all the branches that are there, and you will merge upstream master. By the way, if you run git pull upstream master, the result would be the same. It is a bit of preference of the person using git. So you want to do a change. Is best practice that you don't do changes in the master branch. So you create yourself a new branch for your contribution, and you try to use a descriptive name that explains a bit what you are fixing, where, or mention if you have a GitHub issue, maybe you mention that issue, or something like this. So the command would be git checkout changes the branch minus b. With this, it creates the branch because it doesn't exist, and the name of the branch that you decide. So in this case, it was fix lib 15.5 name supported clients. I was made aware that this command is deprecated, so this was the old way to go. It still works, and actually it is still the command that I use, but I was told that it is better to use git switch minus c and the name of the branch. Then you are already ready to go and to do your change. So you look for the file that you want to change, and probably the first time it is not so easy to know what you want to change. But if you are proficient with the command line and with grep tool, you are going to find the page that you're looking for, and you are going to edit that file. Let's say that it's file 1, and in directory 1 file 2, and in directory 2 directory 3 file 3, in case that there is more than one file to edit. So you edit those files, you save them, and when you finish, you add those files to git. It means that you are telling git that, hey, I'm going to make a change in these files, take them into account. And when you are happy with all your changes, you commit your change. So it's like you confirm your change. You do git commit minus m, and minus m is to enter a comment for what you just did. So in this case, fix typo in supported clients page for OpenSUSE wrongly written. So your change is committed, is there, but it is there in your local disk. You want to push it upstream, so to GitHub, but to your fork. So you push your changes by running this git push. The first time that you run this git push, it will tell you that it doesn't really know where to push it, and it will even give you the command that you have to run, that will be git push with the setup stream, origin, and branch name. So you normally run git push, it tells you the exact command that you have to run, and you run it, and it will be uploaded into GitHub. Remember, into your fork. And uh, after that, you have to tell the community, hey, I have sent a change, and I want you to integrate this change into the official, the community version. So for that, you create a pull request. Uh, the good thing about Git is that it is smart enough, and it gives you the URL. So when you do the command in number 6, it will give you an URL. You click on it, and it will open a browser with the pull request, and you simply follow the browser, and you send the pull request.
Okay, so let me review this. So first, you prepared your own repository, in this case for the Uyuni docs, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Then you ensure that you have the latest version of the copy. I mean, If you have already prepared it before, like 3 days before, you go and do the checkout master fetch upstream merge. So you ensure that everything is like the latest, right?
Exactly.
Then before making changes to be clean and nice, we create a branch and we
Hmm.
switch to that branch. Then we make the changes, git add to add the changes, git commit to put a message, git push to send those changes, and then you will get an URL. You click there and you create the pull request in GitHub with the browser. Is that correct?
Exactly, and that is
Good.
correct. And then the process will go on, and you will get notifications from GitHub, and but from there on onwards, you will do everything through GitHub in a browser in a very friendly interface. So even for newbies, like I was a few months ago only, it is very easy to follow up.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, so let's go on with even a second example. So this time I was only fixing documentation. Well, only documentation is important indeed. But
Very.
let's see that you can even fix something small in the change. So for example, as I said, I'm not a developer. If you are used to Uni and or SUSE Manager, the enterprise version, when you want to onboard a client into SUSE Manager or into Uni, there is something that you can use that is called the Bootstrap script, and it installs some packages into the system when it is onboarded because it needs some packages. The most normal example would be the Sol Minion, for example. Okay, so I once had a case. I am a supporter for the product SUSE Manager, but it would be the same for Uyuni, in which a customer told me, "Hey, and the Bootstrap script is not working, and it is because this package is missing." And I said, "Oh, I already know how to change small things. I know where the file is, where you add the packages. So actually, I only need to add a line with the name of the package." So as I said, the first time you don't know which file it is, but then you search the code, you grep, and you find it. It is not so difficult. So then what I did was I prepared my local environment according to the preparations in the first point of the presentation. And this time the repository to fork was Uyuni. So the code for the product.
The main one.
Mhm. Yeah, big thing. So again, you just make sure that you have the latest thing in your disk. So you change to the master branch, you fetch the branches that are upstream, and you merge your fork with upstream with the community one. Again, the same. You create a new branch with git checkout minus b or with git switch minus c, and you look for the file. In my case, the file was in the subdirectory SUSE Manager as src mgr bootstrap data.py, and in my case, I only went to the packages section and I saw where the packages were and I added a line. I save the file and then I add the file that I just edited into Git. So Git add and the name of the file. Then you commit your changes because your changes are still not saved into Git, and you add a comment into your commit and to say why you changed something or what you were doing, and then you push your changes to your fork in GitHub. Again, when you push it, you will get an URL and a suggestion to create a pull request. So you just click on that link and you follow the wizard in your browser, and you will end up creating your pull request. And it is done. Okay, what else?
Let me add one tiny thing, okay? After you create the pull request, normally somebody will review it, and then if they say, "Oh, this is good," then it will be merged, right?
Yeah, and
Cool.
actually they might tell you to, well, you should also change this, and something is missing. So this is an iterative process. So you can go back and forth, and actually after the first that you have sent the pull request, you can even edit the small change in GitHub browser, so you don't need to use the command line again if you don't feel like. You can choose also to do it in GitHub interface in the web browser.
I prefer the command line. It makes you feel like a real hacker.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. So other suggested contributions. Uh, what else I have done? So I have added new operating systems into Uni. So I added OpenOILA. I don't know if it is fully merged, if it is working, but the code is already there. So, and here you have the pull request and you can have a look at what I changed. It was like 3 or 4 files, very easy. I added slash 15 sp5 and OpenSUSE lib 15.5 as well. You have the URLs there and you can do it yourself. If you don't know what you can do to contribute, you can look up the label good first issue in Uyuni or in Uyuni docs repositories in those URLs. And there you have examples that the developers believe are good for people contributing the first time. And what else can you do? I think Miguel, I think you did something
Yes, I mean,
some time ago.
when I joined SUSE and I started working on SUSE Manager and Uyuni, the first thing I did was getting OpenSUSE lib installed on a VM in my machine. Of course, that it runs OpenSUSE lib itself, and then on top of that, I downloaded Uyuni. I created a clone of that system and installed Uyuni on the system. You can install Uyuni on OpenSUSE lib, and then I started configuring it and so on. And one of the things I did is that I really liked Network Manager, so I configured OpenSUSE lib with Network Manager, and then I started the system and I found a race condition. I go, oh, interesting, there's a race condition here. Sometimes this starts before this and then it doesn't work, and then the other way around. So it's like, okay, that's very straightforward. I found the systemd file, the systemd unit that starts Uyuni, and then I edited it and I added the dependency to ensure that the network was started before the rest of the services. So I did that modification. I created my first. I created an issue. I even created an issue for myself to ensure that everything was properly documented on what I found, why I was doing this, and so on. So if you explain things, normally they are better accepted than if you just provide the code. So again, then I created a pull request, and then I submitted the pull request, and then the pull request was reviewed, and then it was merged. So now I have one line modified in Udemy. And it was very straightforward, really. It was my first week in the company. It was very, very easy to clone. I followed your steps. I cloned everything. I ensured that I had the proper origin to be able to compare the branch that I created to the other one, created a pull request and pushed it, and it got accepted. So again, if you find an issue and you want to create an issue first and then the pull request associated to the issue, that helps also, because it's the best way to say why are you doing it, what did you do it for, and what is it solving. So whenever somebody reviews it, it's a lot easier for them. That's my tiny contribution. And of course, by the way, we have two colleagues, Julio Gonzalez and Alexander Graul, that are going to be having a session that's called From Uyuni to SUSE Manager, how we work in community to build the Linux manager that you love. And I would really recommend you to watch this one too. This is more about how we work in community and how we build Uyuni. And that would be it. So do you want to say goodbye?
No, I would say that please also watch the other session because they are very linked, this session and this one, and
Yeah.
I think they belong together. But other than that, nothing else. Thanks a lot for attending to this virtual session. And if you have any questions, feel free to get back to me. And thank you for your attention. And hopefully see you soon around.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.